Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's morning briefing.
Hamas and Israel are reportedly closer than ever to a ceasefire agreement today, as Hamas-affiliated newspaper Al-Akhbar in Lebanon published a preliminary look at the alleged deal. In it, 10 provisions create conditions for the clauses that follow, and though neither side has signed anything, the drastic easing of tensions along the Gaza border this weekend does show major progress. There were no fires started by incendiary kites and balloons, the protests along the border were only hundreds and not thousands strong, and only tear gas was necessary at times to quell the rioting. The 10 provisions published by Al-Akhbar describe a calm border where Hamas punishes anyone violating the riot cessation order. Thus, the March of Return protests will also end by the end of the year, and the flotillas will also be stopped. The calm between Israel and Gaza will then be held for at least 3 years, with UN and Russian supervision. In return, 70% of Egypt's blockade will be lifted by the end of the year, several Gaza border crossings will open permanently for goods and aid, the Gaza fishing zone will be expanded, projects to expand work further in the Strip will be initiated, and upwards of 5,000 young Gaza Palestinians will be granted work permits for employ in Israel, provided the PA resumes paying 80% of Gaza government employee salaries and agrees to allow Qatar to finance the rest. Finally, there will also be a prisoner exchange deal negotiated through Egypt. Egyptian President Sisi reportedly met with PA President Abbas on the same day the report was released, in alleged efforts to promote the agreement and get Abbas on board. The two also discussed cooperation between Palestine and Egypt. In the second mass casualty car accident in just 1 week, 6 people were killed and 5 more were seriously injured in a head-on collision on Israel's Route 90 by the Petzael junction. According to Magen David Adom, paramedics arrived at the scene and the injured were transferred by helicopter to the hospital. Route 90 was closed in both directions. Magen David Adom paramedic Dennis Polkov gave updates regarding the casualties. He said that the van was severely damaged in the front and that there were 2 wounded people in their 30s suffering from serious upper body wounds and that 8 passengers were trapped inside the vehicle. 6 casualties were then rescued from the vehicle unconscious with severe multi-system injuries. Their deaths were later determined at the scene. The surviving wounded, who were outside the vehicle, received life-saving medical care and were evacuated by helicopter in serious but stable conditions. Firefighters then rescued 2 more casualties, while 1 was unconscious and received CPR at the scene before also being airlifted to the hospital. The driver of the truck did not need to be evacuated to the hospital and was taken in for questioning by the police. Last Tuesday, a family of 8, including 6 children, died while trapped inside their burning car on the same Route 90 near En Bokek. On Friday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finally broke his silence regarding the alleged murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Netanyahu was quoted saying, quote, "What happened in the Istanbul consulate was horrendous and it should be duly dealt with. Yet, at the same time, I say it is very important that Saudi Arabia remains stable," end quote. Jamal Khashoggi is suspected to have been murdered by Saudi agents after he entered the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. And while his case has made waves across the whole world, it's not surprising that this is Netanyahu's reaction. Israel and Saudi Arabia do not have diplomatic relations publicly, but they do share intelligence on their mutual enemies, particularly Iran. Netanyahu is hoping for Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to eventually recognize Israel publicly in the Arab world too. That's in part why the Israeli premier shifted the focus back to Iran during his comments, saying, quote, "We have to make sure Iran does not continue the malign activities," continuing that, "Blocking Iran is uttermost on our agenda for security, not merely for Israel, but I believe for Europe and the world as well," end quote. After months and months of accusations, British police have now announced to the BBC that they have opened an investigation into allegations of criminal anti-Semitism within the UK Labour Party. Police reiterate that the party itself is not under investigation, though many individuals within the party are. The investigation follows the leaking of an internal Labour Party memo detailing at least 45 cases of social media posts and messages made by Labour Party members, posts that Jewish Labour MP Margaret Hodge said the party should have taken to the police on their own a long time ago. London's LBC Radio received the alleged Labour Party document in September and then submitted it to Metro Police Chief Commissioner Cressida Dick, who said police will investigate now as it appears, quote, "there may have been a crime committed," end quote. Chishti saw the material as well and said that at least 17 of the 45 detailed instances should be under investigation, while at least another 4 are potential racial hate crimes. Tom Watson, the deputy head of the UK Labour Party, said he wasn't surprised by the reports and that the full force of the law should be applied to whomever may have broken the law. But unfortunately, Watson also predicts that this investigation may in fact impede the effort to rid Labour of anti-Semitism entirely. He said, quote, "If this does one thing, it will silence a small number of people who still believe that anti-Semitism doesn't exist in my party or other parties, and that hampers the campaign to try and deal with this problem as quickly and as swiftly and as forcefully as we can," end quote. But as this report comes after one scandal following the next, many others believe that this may still lead to the wake-up call that's necessary to exact change.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.